Hello friends. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and New Year celebration and that 2023 has started really well for you. Welcome to another meditation video from Evo Faith. Through January, we're going to be exploring the whole concept of spirituality, what it isn't, what it is, how we can create a spiritual practice for ourselves that we can stick to through the year. So I hope you'll find that a helpful way to kick this year off. And of course, the content in this meditation video is linked with the podcast that went out on Wednesday. So if you haven't watched that video or read the article or listened to the podcast audio, then I'd encourage you to do that first and then come back to this video. Or there will be an opportunity for you later in this video to pause the video and make sure that you pick up that content before you continue with your meditation. Let's begin. As always, begin by stilling yourself. And I invite you to open your awareness to spirit, to what is more than the physical, more than just you, more than your limited knowledge and experience. Just expand your mind and your heart and your sense of awareness for a moment. And now breathe deep. And as you breathe in an increased awareness of the presence of the more. Call it God or spirit or universal consciousness or life or love. That more that fills you, your environment and all things. Just breathe in an increased awareness of that. Now I want to read a few verses from the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 6, from verse 1 to 5. Be careful that you don't practice your religion in front of people to draw their attention. If you do, you'll have no reward from your Father who is in heaven. Whenever you give to the poor, don't blow your trumpet as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, so that they may get praise from people. I assure you that's the only reward they'll get. But when you give to the poor, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that you may give to the poor in secret. Your Father who sees what you do in secret will reward you. When you pray, don't be like the hypocrites. They love to pray, standing in the synagogues and on the street corners, so that people will see them. I assure you, that's the only reward they'll get. But when you pray, go to your room, shut the door, and pray to your Father who is present in that secret place. Your Father who sees what you do in secret will reward you. Now let's spend a brief moment in prayer. There is no shortage of teachers who happily parade their spirituality for all to see. There is no shortage of voices calling us to adopt some essential spiritual practice or doctrine. There is no limit to the list of things that present a show, a form, or an image of spirituality, but that don't actually serve us in our quest for life, meaning, and connection with God, the world, others, and ourselves. God, it's easy for us to get caught up in these things, only to discover later that our dignity, agency, and unique insights and needs are dismissed or undermined. We need the discernment to be able to identify what authentic spirituality is and what it isn't. And we need the courage and wisdom to eradicate from our lives anything that claims to be spiritual, but that hinders or harms us in our journey. Thank you, God, for the wisdom of Christ and of so many humble and selfless teachers that honor every person's unique spirit and journey. Thank you for the way they have shown us to quietly and gently connect more deeply with ultimate realities, with spirit, love, life, beauty, truth, and goodness. And thank you that when we listen to the still small voice within, we are able to find a spirituality that leads us to wholeness and empowers us to share life and love with others. Amen. We're now going to move into a time of reflection, and I invite you, if you haven't yet, to go back to the podcast or to the article if you're part of the Evo Faith tribe, or if you took notes when you were watching or listening or reading the podcast, I invite you to go back to those notes and just spend some time processing that content, reflecting on those ideas and those thoughts, and paying attention to what happens within you, in your mind, in your heart, in your body, as you engage with the thinking in that podcast. And when you've done that, then feel free to come back and continue with the meditation as we begin to work with that content more personally and more deeply. So I'll be here waiting for you when you get back. Welcome back. I invite you again just to still yourself and prepare to do some work with the idea of what spirituality is not. Begin by reviewing the list of things that I mentioned that seem like spirituality, but that aren't really. What would you add to that list? What would you change or remove? In the light of that list, do you see any of these things in your spirituality? Now, some of them may not be spirituality in themselves, but they do contribute to or integrate with your spirituality, which is wonderful. Some aren't spiritual in themselves, and they hinder or undermine your spiritual journey, and that, of course, is unhelpful. So identify any elements of your spirituality that are unhelpful and any that you may want to change or be more intentional about working with. Now think about these 3 checks that help you to show unhealthy elements that you can cut out of your spirituality. Check number 1. Where is the fruit of your spirituality life-giving and creative? Are there any signs that some aspects of your spirituality may be life-diminishing and destructive? Check number 2. How does your spirituality connect with the whole of your life? Are there areas of your life that feel outside of your spirituality? Are there areas of your spirituality that feel outside of the rest of your life? How can you connect all facets of your life with your spirituality even more? Check number 3. Does your spirituality help you to integrate your understandings and experiences of different facets of life and the universe with one another? Are there any areas where your spirituality leads you to create divisions and separations that are life-diminishing for you or others? Does your spirituality lead you to be increasingly open to allow people and things to be just what they are? Spend some time working with those 3 checks now. Now I invite you to bring this time of meditation to a close by identifying 3 areas of struggle in your spirituality, or 3 areas where you feel that your spirituality isn't as healthy as you would like it to be. And then identify any specific actions you can take to cut these 3 unhealthy things out of your spirituality. And I'll give you a short moment to commit intentionally to doing those actions every day this week as you work on becoming a little healthier in your spirituality through the week. So take a moment to pray or to reflect or to journal or to do something that helps you to connect to doing those things through this week. Now I hope you found this meditation helpful, that it has enabled you to identify anything that you may have felt was spiritual that maybe isn't, or any areas in your own spiritual life that could use a little more health. And I hope that as you go into this week, you'll feel yourself becoming healthier, more confident, more enlivened through your spirituality. Thank you for being part of this practice, and stay connected to the sacred.